As I cross the halls, passing eyes across the hall, feeling judged on which hall I choose to cross. Growing up black in DN, I'll be reminded of it till the end. I always used to blame them, forever feeling lost. From concrete pitches and ripped up shoes to getting on stage and inspiring the youth. I feel I've come a long way from being Black Dave, but I'm just getting started on the path that I'll take. I tried to put myself on a higher level than my brothers, but I realised that I'm no different. Because I can tell you that I'm clean, didn't touch road in my teens, but I'm still just in this system. You see, the word makes me cringe, it strikes a chord deep within, but understand, this is the world that we live in. Because I was born in 99, you think that you got left behind, but all the world tells me is I am a victim. Prosperity is luck, man's survival is where we're stuck. Even that, we're taught to take from each other. Because the seeds have been sowed, the other side is what we're told, he's an op if you don't call him brother. And my sisters get no love when we think we see a dove, man, I think that we're forgetting where we came from. To be true to my heart, black love is where I'll start. Melanin glows your skin, do the same son. Now, I see a dark world with plenty of people trying to shine. People trying to make a change, some are just here for a good time. Some just want to do their work, get home, and unwind. But as soon as we close the door, we do the same to our minds. I'm not trying to antagonize, I'm just writing on the wall. If we can choose when we care, just like we choose who's worth the fall. All souls matter, we weren't made to decide. Skull and bones under our flesh, we were all made to die. I'm not trying to scare anybody, just saying we're on the same side. If this life's a game, only together shall we rise. We need to make it harder, this life is full of its trials. I thought I was on my own, now I see I was in denial. Quick reality check, darkness shines in this world. The dark needs the dark. The light shows too much dirt. This message that I'm speaking, I don't know where it was birthed. All I pray is that a soul is getting saved from these words. Feeding the wants of this flesh while the spirit goes hungry. Being locked in these vices, there's no way that we'll run free.
Moving to Doncaster to finish growing up can only be described as an experience. From one extreme to the other, I saw the best and the worst the town had to offer for a young person of colour like me. I grew up down south, so from nursery to secondary school, every classroom I had ever been in had children who looked just like me. Each one was full of kids who looked similar, and was equally full of kids who looked dissimilar. Also kindred in our uniqueness that no one person stood out. I felt comfort in the camouflage of our presence. To be thrust out of warm familiarity into the cold reality of obvious contrast swept what I thought I knew out from under me. What once felt second nature and safe was now on its head and out from within my reach. Overnight, I went from being one fragment in a kaleidoscope of colours to one of 3 grey smudges on an otherwise glaringly white piece of paper. I was in for the biggest culture shock of my life. And in order for things to get better, it had to get much worse. Through the years, I had learnt that being so conspicuous had made me an easy target. Standing out made me noticeable, and so I made myself small. I learnt that it was better if I sat down and shut up, so I did. I sat through assumptions about whether or not my dad was around. I sat through group discussions on which racial slurs were acceptable. I even sat through having those same slurs screamed in my face on nights out. I sat through it all, and I sat through it silently. I straightened my hair because mine looked so much better straight. I listened to indie music because it's much better than any of that stuff you put on. I tried desperately to fit into a white-sized box because I thought it would shield me from the onslaught. It never did. But, over time, as my world expanded, so did the familiar feeling of safety, the unspoken permission to exist as I was. I also began to feel a responsibility to always exist as I was. It wasn't until much later that I began to feel confident enough to scream about it. In 2019, I had my daughter, and it dawned on me that she would have to grow up here, just like I did. She could be in classes like mine. She could have her first love here. She could make mistakes here, just as I did. 6 months later, the video of George Floyd's death went viral and was seen across the globe. Sparks of outrage flew, but I assumed they would be extinguished as they usually were. Little did I know that this spark would catch. It would catch and roar into life, changing the world and the future as I saw it. Over the course of the next few days, myself and a group of friends set about organising the biggest demonstration Doncaster had seen since the miners' strike. The Black Lives Matter protest was the turning point for me. From drag queens to firefighters, from preachers to singers. The speakers came from different communities but all had the same experiences. The crowd stood strong and silent and listened to our pain and offered their support as we healed. That day changed my mind. I had gone from accepting this town for what I thought it was, to putting my heart and soul into showing myself and others what it could be. Since then, I have been fortunate enough to be able to take part in so many fantastic projects, and to work with some brilliant people and organisations in Doncaster, ones that are committed to making a difference. I have met artists, activists, musicians and poets. I have met people driven by a passion for change and for celebrating their cultures. I've met incredible people doing incredible things, and it has reignited something in me. Hope, maybe. Or just relief that perhaps I've been looking in the wrong places this whole time.
So although I see myself as mainly a photographer, I've taken on different roles that plug me into the many outlets of life and have introduced me to a variety of people, whether they're creatives or doctors or business owners. I've been creative from a very young age, starting with making and drawing. Photography came into my life when I was about 12 and had a new phone with a 5-megapixel camera, better than all the phone cameras out there. I just persistently snapped photos of everyone and anything at home, school, outside and inside. I like documenting what I saw, observing the life around me, which sticks with me to this day. Around mid-year 8, being a photographer was one of 3 professions I was convinced I would be. The other 2 being a psychologist or a paediatrician. Definitely had a thing for the letter P. Life growing up in Doncaster was simple through my eyes. Race, religion and culture didn't mean much to me when I was young. It's only when I reached my mid-teen years that things started to change. I'd be confused by comments made or questions asked, which only made sense to me in my late teen years once I'd moved away and started connecting with my ethnic background and my religion and being surrounded by a diverse group of people. There were many other instances that stand out to me now that tell me I was not accepted as the person I saw myself to be. I saw myself just like everyone else, but these minor differences for me seemed to be major differences for those around me. I spent my time in the media room developing my photography and working on my coursework. I really enjoyed Doncaster when I was close to my friends here. Growing up, it wasn't about the things to do, it was about who you spent your time with. But once I distanced myself from them and moved away, Doncaster looked empty and cold to me. I'd experienced life in a city where there was art, food, and energy from a diverse group of people. I think I came back at a pivotal moment where the arts were being explored by my generation and people and organisations were trying to infuse Doncaster with culture and creativity, which I became part of, and I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. The support around me pursuing photography was 50-50. I'd have some family, friends and staff pushing me to keep at it and work hard on it. Then I'd have others telling me it's a Mickey Mouse subject or a competitive industry and that I may as well study to become a teacher. To this day, I still get people pushing me to go into teaching, but I don't care to live my life based on other people's preferences. Often I get told that I'm lucky with how I always have work come to me rather than me going out to search for it. Oh, it's such a competitive market, you'll never find anything, it'll be so hard for you to get jobs. And then they're like, oh, it's so easy for you to get work. Make that make sense. Today I feel there's a new community of creative people of colour that has been introduced to Doncaster, who are going to change the trajectory of who Doncaster is and what it can provide. It's about enhancing Doncaster and providing something new and different for all the people who felt they never fit in, that felt they weren't heard or felt they weren't as well respected, or given the same opportunity as their peers. So photography's really just provided me a connection to who I am, the people around me, and I've used it now in Doncaster to help me reconnect to Doncaster help me continue in this life of doing the absolute most and taking from life as much as I can, rather than just keeping myself in one lane.